Hello, this is Richard from Liberty on the Inside. Today I'm going to talk about how to avoid adultery, and I'm going to be looking at Proverbs chapter 7, which is a chapter written by Solomon, who is David's son through his relationship with Bathsheba, and it's their son who wrote most of the book of Proverbs, so we're told from historians. So let's look at Proverbs chapter 7 and see what we can learn about avoiding adultery, how not to go down the paths of adultery or the adulteress. So let's see what it has to say. So I'm going to be reading from the Bible. Proverbs chapter 7, it says, "My son, keep my words and store up my commands within you. Keep my commands and you will live. Guard my teachings as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your kinsman. They will keep you from the adulteress, from the wayward wife with her seductive words." And obviously that can be the wayward husband with his seductive words. Okay, so we're trying to find how to keep out of adultery, physical adultery. Verse 6, "At the window of my house I looked out through the lattice. I saw among the simple, I noticed among the young men a youth who lacked judgment." So we've got to get judgment. If we want to avoid adultery, we've got to ask God for sound judgment and use sound judgment. "I saw among the simple, I noticed among the young men a youth who lacked judgment. He was going down the street near her corner, walking along in the direction of her house at twilight, as the day was fading, as the dark of night set in." So, the writer here is talking about someone who's going near the place of where the adulteress is. I mean, in our day and age, that could be physically walking down the street, but equally on the internet. That means don't go near the websites that are attracting you towards looking at porn, looking at other people, looking at naked men or naked women. Don't go near there. It's a lack of judgment. We have to stay out of that part of the world. "Then out came a woman to meet him, dressed like a prostitute and with crafty intent." So, what's a prostitute dressed like? Well, there were a specific look of a prostitute in the Old Testament time 3,000 years ago. Today, if you were to go into any big city in the US or Europe, you will find people dressed as a prostitute. They often have little clothes on, and they're dressed in flimsy outfits, and they're standing in doorways, they're standing on street corners, because they're looking for business. Don't go near the prostitute. "She is loud and defiant." Remember, this could be a man as well. He is loud and defiant. "Her feet never stay at home, and now in the street, now in the squares, at every corner she lurks. She took hold of him and kissed him." I just read a story in the newspaper of a court case in the UK where two people met in a pub in the United Kingdom, and they were kissing within a few minutes of meeting each other. They'd never met each other, and they kissed. And this is in the press, and it is a story of adultery, if you will, and rape. But it was just like this. They met and they kissed. "She took hold of him and kissed him with a brazen face. She said, 'I have fellowship offerings at home. Today I have fulfilled my vows.'" That kind of means that the girl in this story has had her monthly period, and she's now clean. During your monthly period in Leviticus, you're not allowed to have sexual relations, or you should not, because you'll be defiled and unclean. So she's saying to the man, "Hey, I'm ready for sex. I've made my vows at the temple. I'm ready. So I came out to meet you," she said. "I looked for you and have found you. I have covered my bed with colorful linens from Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us drink deep of love till morning. Let us enjoy ourselves with love." We could rephrase "come, let us drink deep of love till morning" with other phrases, but it's someone saying let's go home together and let's spend the night together. "My husband is not at home. He has gone on a long journey. He took his purse filled with money and will not be home till full moon." So here's the adulteress saying, "My husband's not around. He's not here tonight. He's gone away to Paris for the week. He will not be back. With persuasive words. So the adulteress is persuasive, or he is persuasive. He will use methods to get you to go back with him. All at once he followed her like an ox going to the slaughter, like a deer stepping into the noose. So it's a trap. You're walking into a trap whenever you commit adultery physically, or adultery online with masturbation or whatever, or something else related to that. That is a trap. You're getting trapped. Like a deer stepping into a noose, till an arrow pierces his liver, like a bird darting into a snare, little knowing it will cost him his life. I mean, there are some occasions where you have sex with someone, a one-night stand, it can cost you your life through disease, through sickness. I mean, this is real stuff, and it talks about going to the liver. Now then, my sons, listen to me, pay attention to what I say. Do not let your heart turn to her ways, or stray into her paths. So the writer of Proverbs here is telling us, don't go near this person. Don't go near those websites. Don't go near Craigslist if you're tempted by trying to hook up with people. Don't do it. Switch it off. Go the other direction. The scripture says in verse 26, many are the victims she has brought down. Her slain are a mighty throng. Her house is a highway to the grave, leading down to the chambers of death. So the warning here, as it finishes this section, is stay away from adultery. Know where the adulteress hangs out. In this case, it was on street corners. And as I've talked about, this is still the same for today. But often people now are caught through internet, text, email, and what starts off as a emotional relationship, talking to the opposite sex, or even same sex, can end up in a wrong sexual relationship. So we have to know good judgment of when we are getting seduced, or when we are feeling seduced and running the other way. The scripture says flee, run away from sexual temptation, and that's what we have to do. So that's my teaching today, is avoid the adulteress, avoid the websites, avoid one-on-one conversations with the opposite sex, or if it's same-sex attraction, you have to be very careful of one-on-one with the same sex. So we have to use good judgment and ask Jesus to protect us. All right, God bless you, and this is Liberty on the Inside. Bye-bye.